This is Vivi. Today we have a very special guest, Bilal Bin Saqib, entrepreneur, investor, and now the driving force behind Pakistan's national crypto movement. Now, just days ago, Pakistan appointed Binance founder CZ Zhao as strategic advisor to its newly formed crypto council, and Bilal is the man behind that move. Bilal, welcome to the show and huge congrats.
Thank you. This is very exciting for us, and thank you for having us.
Thank you. So you are the key player driving this massive partnership. Tell us, how did this come together and what's the story behind? And also, what does CZ's involvement really mean for Pakistan's crypto ambitions? And what specific value is it bringing to the table?
So I'd say that the journey started with a clear vision to position Pakistan as a leader in the blockchain space and showcase the immense potential our country holds. We knew that somebody of CZ's caliber, his vision, his deep understanding of the industry knowledge, his connections can truly accelerate our ambitions. And the conversations with CZ began as part of a broader outreach to global leaders. We have laid out the opportunities here: our young, tech-savvy population, the rising crypto adoption, the chance to leverage untapped resources, our national resources. It resonated with him. And what really brought him on board was our commitment to a serious long-term strategy. This isn't just any other advisory role. We are requesting him, we are asking him to help us shape the future of a country at a pivotal moment. And I think he's seen the potential, and hence why he's chosen to be part of it.
That's great. That's
right.
Yes.
So I think CZ's involvement is absolutely monumental for Pakistan. With, again, unparalleled knowledge, his connections, he can really help us define what it means to be a crypto-friendly nation from ground up. He's essentially the most regulated guy in this space, and who better than a guy who's been through the whole journey? So we can actually learn from his mistakes. We can take a leaf out of his book, and CZ is helping us define this.
I know that you and your team have worked so hard in landing CZ this partnership, and this is definitely beneficial for both sides and also good news for the crypto community as well. So we know that CZ has stepped down from Binance and now pivoted to advising. And I actually wrote a post analyzing this whole situation too. I think this is really tech with humanity. So why do you think he chose Pakistan?
I think CZ sees what we see: a nation ripe for transformation. Pakistan has massive untapped market for tech-savvy, ambitious youth who's already exploring Web3. We are already one of the highest adoption countries when it comes to crypto, and added that to our surplus energy resources, a government ready to listen, open for innovation. I think we have the perfect environment for growth. And when you put this all together, it makes it very exciting for anyone who is a visionary to come and change the landscape here.
That's great. We're going to dive deeper into the points that you mentioned about the youthful population and also the energy surplus and all that. Now, just staying on this topic, are you planning to bring on more global figures or advisors like CZ? And also, is this the beginning of a broader international crypto alliance for Pakistan? And who are you looking for example?
Of course, absolutely. CZ is the first, but he won't be the last. We want to build a coalition of global leaders, innovators, visionaries who see potential in Pakistan. And we are thinking of it as growing network of expertise for us. We are already in talks with other prominent figures in the crypto blockchain space.
So will we see more public-private partnerships like the one that you have with CZ going forward? Tell us more.
Of course, our primary focus is on laying the right foundation through public-private collaborations. We welcome players whose experiences in launching global platforms and providing cutting-edge infrastructure is invaluable. While nothing is, of course, set in stone yet, we see immense potential for creating partnerships that drive both innovation and financial inclusion for the Pakistani people. Our broader goal is to leverage these expertise while ensuring that all of these public-private partnerships align with Pakistan's economic policies and priorities.
Looking forward to more great news. So now let's step back a little bit. Your personal journey is also incredible, from humanitarian work with 1 million meals to Tayaba's water projects and now leading Pakistan's crypto future. So what first inspired you to connect social impact with tech?
I think when it comes to social impact, I have to say my mother has been my first and my biggest inspiration. Growing up, I watched how she constantly made an effort to go out of the way to help others, and she's always focused on making a positive impact in people's life. And I've always believed that real change comes from giving people tools to build their own futures. And with my social impact initiatives in the past, I saw firsthand that how innovation can solve problems. And when I started exploring blockchain, it became clear that this technology can do more, whether it comes to supply chain, whether it comes to creating efficiencies, whether it comes to bringing financial independence, economic empowerment to millions who've been left behind and left out of the system. So the inspiration was simple: take what I learned in the social impact space and apply it to a new area which has endless possibilities.
You're lucky to have a loving and very visionary mother. And I agree with you 100%. Giving the young people the tools, especially nowadays in the age of blockchain, crypto, and AI innovation, is the key. But along the way, I'm sure you have experienced challenges. So what kind of challenges did you face in getting from philanthropy to crypto policy? And how do you overcome those obstacles?
I think the biggest hurdle was bridging these two worlds: social impact technology. On one hand, you have grassroots challenges, you have funding constraints, you have slow adoption of new tools, skepticism from regulation. And on the other hand, you have a very fast moving, dynamic complex world of crypto policy and regulation. Mindset was just to focus on the outcomes rather than thinking about the obstacles. Then had the opportunity and the pleasure to surround myself with people who've had deep technical expertise, and hence why I've been able to kind of immerse myself into the policy side of a thing, which I'm still learning. And by staying, I think, persistent and being willing to learn new concepts and investing time into new technologies and looking at the best case studies around the world, I think that is how I've been able to navigate myself.
I like what you said. Focus on the outcome, the journey, just cut through the noise. Let's come back to Pakistan, the crypto future. You've said that Pakistan is done sitting on the sidelines. So what's your vision for Pakistan?
I think it's time for Pakistan to lead now. I envision a future where blockchain powered finance becomes a normal. Imagine a landscape where remittances are instant, are cost effective, where entrepreneurs can easily raise funds without traditional banking. They can tokenize their assets. They can raise capital without borders, where, let's say, farmers can access global markets and via smart contracts. And this is where I think having guidance from other crypto leaders and tech leaders, we aim to create a roadmap that includes regulatory clarity, that includes strategic investments in our infrastructure, and I think large scale educational initiatives. The goal is to turn Pakistan into a global blockchain hub, because we are not a Singapore, we're not a Dubai. We might not have those advanced financial infrastructure, but we do have the youth, and we want to bank on that.
I want to follow up with what you said with CZ's help. Could you share with us what is the roadmap like to make that vision a reality?
I think the roadmap includes focusing firstly on the regulation, then education, and then bringing in the relevant licensing regime, and then enabling more sandboxes when it comes to tokenization.
Regulation is one of the very important aspects. So now coming back to Pakistan's youth, we know that Pakistan has a very solid crypto base, ranking one of the top 10 crypto adoption country, and then with 20 to 25 million users, 60% of your population is under 30. My goodness, people like in China would be so envious. All these other Asian countries are running out of young people. For Pakistan, this is huge potential. So how do you plan to use this to your advantage?
Vivi, the youth of Pakistan is a secret weapon with 60% of the population under 30 and millions already engaging in crypto because we also have one of the leading freelancer market in the world. So we have ready-made base of early adopters. The strategy is to channel their curiosity and their enthusiasm into a structured approach, is to upskill them because right now it's our youth is on major freelancer platforms doing the back office work, and through educational programs, through hackathons, through incubation centers, through partnerships with universities, we want to give these generations the skills not just in crypto but a mindset to innovate, to create world class projects, to bring wealth and opportunities into their own country. It's about turning the youth's energy into a driving force for our national transformation.
So we're gonna expect a lot of education, a lot of incubation, a lot of favorable policies to help the young people. I'm wondering whether there are any other specific measures in store to untap and help those freelance markets.
I think we're part of a generation that has the tools and the talent to compete on the global stage, and especially in this age of AI and Web3, the mindset that we have will set you apart. Of course, hackathons, education, partnership with universities, creating enabling environment which fosters innovation within our local entrepreneurs. And it's why this narrative on the top would really help into harnessing and creating that snowballing effect. You got to learn before you earn.
Exactly. So also, Pakistan has over 100 million adult population unbanked, but many of them with smartphones. So how do you see blockchain driving real financial inclusion in Pakistan? You mentioned several times financial inclusion.
Well, of course, we're looking and we are exploring different options right now. We are speaking to different partners on how a Pakistani stable coin can be used to help a lot of and to develop mobile wallets, etc., to help the unbanked.
So are we going to see a Pakistan government-backed stablecoin coming up soon?
Never say never.
That's a good one. Regulation, as you mentioned, that's one of the top priorities on your roadmap. You mentioned a very unique Pakistan-first approach. Tell us what is it like when it comes to crypto policy?
When I say Pakistan first approach, it means that we won't just simply copy what other countries have done. Instead, we're looking at Pakistan's unique strengths, and we have our own challenges and needs, and building a framework that fits our specific context. We're focused on creating balanced, clear policies that encourage innovation while protecting our users within the financial ecosystem. The goal is to make Pakistan a model for responsible, forward-thinking crypto regulation, one that leverages, again, our secret weapon, which is our youth and our growing tech sector and the abundance resources, whether it's our natural resources or the excess electricity that we have, the surplus electricity, to drive economic growth and financial inclusion. In other words, it's not just about having rules, it's about having the right rules for Pakistan and importantly, creating a model that is exportable to other emerging markets.
Interesting. You succeed in that model and you export that model to help other emerging countries. When we talk about use cases and adoption from powering mining with surplus energy to real estate and also agricultural tokens, what blockchain applications excite you the most for Pakistan?
There are many. I can't choose one, but I think I would like to convert our liabilities into assets. So what excites me most is the opportunity to address these real challenges that we have, starting with surplus energy for Bitcoin mining. Not only brings us foreign investment, but also creates a new revenue stream for the government. Tokenizing our real estate, tokenizing our illiquid assets, again, is a source to bring FDI into the country. Our very GDP is dependent on agriculture. Within agriculture, I believe blockchain can improve transparency, efficiency in supply chains. Farmers can perhaps get fairer prices. Consumers can trace the origin of their food. These use cases aren't just theoretical. They're practical ways blockchain can help lift our economy and improve lives of millions. It's about building an economy that works for every Pakistani, from the far fields to the cities.
I saw the news made a headline across Twitter X overnight about Pakistan is planning to use the surplus energy for mining. Could you dive a little bit deeper into that aspect to see like what kind of favorable policies the government will make to attract more mining investors to come to Pakistan to build and to use that to their advantage?
We would create a very favorable environment for these investors where we would provide them electricity at a very competitive price. And these would be registered in special technology zones, or let's say special crypto zones, where we would evade import duties, where they will have tax holidays, because we want to encourage this area, because this is extremely important for us. I think Bitcoin mining is a low-hanging fruit where we can immediately, again, provide a showcase to the leadership of the country on how we can turn a liability into an asset. But more importantly, Vivian, I think this provides us a stepping stone to create the AI infrastructure as well into the country, that if AI is the electricity right now, and we don't want Pakistan to stay in the dark, and for our local LLMs and for the whole AI industry to flourish, we need to have data centers. And for that also the government is working towards allocating a few thousand megawatts, again, to encourage investors.
You just mentioned one of the very important area, the energy sector and the data center, which is kind of a backbone for crypto mining, also for AIs. This is visionary. Are you the go-to person, the global miners out there, when they listen to us, watch our show, they get the message? Should they come and contact you?
Of course, Pakistan is open for business. We are open for innovation, and we are open to facilitating investors, welcoming them. So they should definitely contact the Pakistan Crypto Council, and whatever the questions that they may have, we are happy to support and facilitate.
Message received. Expect more calls from global investors.
Our lines are open 24/7 for them.
By the way, this interview actually is done at around midnight Pakistani time. You'll always really work around the clock very hard to make this crypto future reality. How crypto is going to benefit Pakistan is not just about adoption, it's also about laying down real foundations like reliable infrastructure, digital literacy, secure platforms, and grassroots innovation, which we touched upon earlier. What are the building blocks you're focused on first?
I think the first building block is regulatory clarity. So we can give the investors the confidence. We want to have a clear rules that protect our users, investors, and encourages innovation. Without it, even the best ideas won't get traction. They're just words. But we want to put the right enabling environment for action to happen. And next, again, as I said, focusing on education and awareness. Without it, if people don't understand how crypto works or how they can benefit from it, from retail to institutions, the adoption won't be sustainable. And if people don't find the opportunity, then there's no point. We also need a secure, trustworthy platform to trade, to store digital assets, and we are prioritizing robust infrastructure. Finally, we are working at the grassroots level to empower local developers and entrepreneurs by giving them tools to create homegrown solutions, to turn our problems into protocols. We can build a sustainable Pakistani-led crypto ecosystem from ground up, because real revolutions don't start in boardrooms. They start in classrooms, communities, and coding.
It seems your council, led by you, has a really thorough plan for Pakistan. Now I'm going to play the devil's advocate, because you talk about the regulatory clarity. Investors are also concerned about the political instability, for example, policy reversals, inconsistency leaderships, etc. So how are you building confidence for long-term crypto growth in Pakistan?
You see, political instability can be a valid concern, but we are addressing it by focusing on initiatives that transcend short-term changes. One of our key approaches is fostering transparency and open dialogue between the policymakers, the industry leaders, and the public by working towards consistent, well communicated regulatory frameworks. We want to create an environment where the investors feel secure. And additionally, we want to prioritize education and awareness campaigns to build public support. And when the majority of the country is youth, we want to build their support. So when we have a well-informed public and engaged industry, we provide a stable foundation that can weather political shifts. So you can make sure that, at least this part is cemented because this becomes the backbone of the country. And ultimately, we are committing to showing investors that our roadmap is not only forward thinking, but it's also built to withstand challenges, ensuring long term growth and sustainability.
Economically, Pakistan's facing inflation and also the possible energy shortage, currency depreciation, etc. So what reassurance do you offer potential investors?
True, Pakistan faces economic challenges. Vivian, don't you think that challenges come with opportunities? They come with opportunities for innovation.
Mhm.
And we offer reassurance by focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on our problems. For instance, again, harnessing blockchain-based financial systems, we can stabilize transactions, reduce costs, and improve efficiency in many industries. Tokenizing our illiquid assets and real estate can unlock a lot of capital and provide new revenue streams. In addition, I think initiatives like using surplus energy for mining. So these are all problems, but I don't see them as problems. I see them as perfect opportunities. And again, when the government is committed to building a robust, transparent regulatory framework that fosters trust and invites long-term mutual partnerships, our message is simple. Pakistan is ready to innovate its way out of its challenges.
Well said. I can see that the Crypto Council is a great start to turn all these challenges or crises into opportunities. I must say your job is well respected. There's a global concern about anti-money laundering controls, especially after Pakistan's FATF watch list status. So could you tell us how are you working on to fix perceptions and also tighten enforcement on that front?
We take these regulations and these concerns very seriously, and we are addressing them. And addressing them is actually central to our approach and one of the main ideas behind establishing this Pakistan Crypto Council. Because if we don't regulate, then we are at the risk of going back into the lists. Over the year, I think Pakistan has made significant progress in improving the AML framework, complying with FATF recommendations. For instance, we are strengthening oversight of financial institutions, tightening KYC protocols, and implementing a robust reporting mechanism. And when it comes to crypto, we are collaborating with both our local agencies, international stakeholders to ensure that our regulatory framework align with global standards. And this includes integrating blockchain inherent transparency into our compliance processes.
It's great that you are working towards a more transparent governance. You are the role model for many young people in Pakistan. You're 30 under 30 figure. Now you are leading this crypto council. So what legacy do you want to leave with this work? And what does success look like for you?
I interviewed CZ for a fireside chat and I asked him, what do you want your legacy to be like? And he said, I don't really believe in legacy. And I've been thinking about that, but I would talk more about, my motivation than my legacy. And my ultimate, motivation or goal is to help position Pakistan as a global leader in technology, a place where innovation thrives, talent is nurtured, and the world looks for us, for the next big breakthrough. In the next 10 years, for me, success would be seeing Pakistan recognized not just as a participant, but as a pioneer. I want to leave behind an ecosystem where young entrepreneurs are creating world-changing projects where economy, is inclusive and equitable thanks to blockchain, where I inspire the generation of Pakistan who believe in their ability to shape and create the future that they want and to grow and lead in this new digital age.
That's beautiful. I really wish you the best of luck. By the way, what is your takeaway after your fireside chat with CZ? would you like to share?
The fireside chat will be released tomorrow, and I think it's a very enlightening discussion where we talk about, a wide range of things. I think it's humbling to meet somebody like that, and it was actually very inspiring and motivating to see a person who essentially built a empire based on code. And essentially, he mentioned that we are still early. So anyone with a good internet connection, a laptop, and a willingness and a fire in their belly to learn can do wonders. There can be hundreds of series in 10 years' time because the way the world is changing in the AI space, in the crypto space. So I think it's all here. Nobody is at a disadvantage in this day and age if you have a roof on top of your head, clothes to wear, a good internet connection, and a laptop.
Yeah, that's true. The sky's the limit. I remember CZ used to say that he wants to be remembered as the man who brings crypto adoption to the world. You've spoken about turning averageness into superpower. So how does that philosophy still guide you? What advice would you give to young people who feel like they are outsiders trying to do big things?
You see, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every single hour. I've always believed that, this people who think that, we are average, this is actually your edge because you don't have any image to protect, where you are seen as the obvious star. And my advice to young people is simple. Don't be afraid to start small. Don't feel like you can't do it or feel like that you don't belong. And great things, come from steady effort and not just being exceptional at the start. There is no traffic on the extra mile. So always go the extra mile.
There's a Chinese saying that 1,000 miles start with one single step.
And especially in this age of AI and Web3, the mindset that will set you apart is the one of curiosity, resilience, and adaptability. So be hungry to learn, unafraid to experiment. Don't be taken back by that. Don't be shy to feel ashamed. The change as an opportunity because the skills that you develop in your T's or T's, and especially with coding, blockchain, AI applications can open doors not just for you but for your community, for your country. So dream big, but more importantly, act on those dreams. The world did not change by people who just thought; it was changed by people who act.
Exactly. Resilience, curiosity, adaptability, and just be brave and just do it, right? So don't overthink it and just put into actions, no matter how small it is.
I think I love to fail. I love to fail forward because innovation only happens outside the regulatory boundaries. And, the very risk mitigated approach, you can't have innovation then.
Thank you so much, Bilal. Thank you for your time. It has been very inspiring. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Vivi, talking to you.
Likewise. Talk soon.